All right, recap and aha, so let's complete, oh good, we can continue. All right, so, how has your thinking changed from today's conversation?
Nicole?
Yes.
Hi. This is Kirsten and Wendy.
Hi, Kirsten and Wendy.
I'm sorry, we were just going back to, we have reviews and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
Where do we place them in command?
So your reviews are not gonna go in command, your reviews are gonna go in Google reviews, they're gonna go on your Facebook page, they're gonna go on anywhere that if you're doing Yelp, anything that you're doing, and you've gotta be clear on that strategy, like where am I putting my feedback, right? So not in command, but out there for the world to see. Good question, thank you for clarifying. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah, because remember, command is internal, nobody's gonna see it. Now, if you wanna cut and paste and put it in a note so that you have that review in case something new shows up, that might be a good strategy, right? So you can take it and add as a note in that client's file in command, like here's the review, dated da-da-da, right? So that you, say you start a new website and you're like, where are all my reviews? They're in command under the people, right? So that's a good way to go. Excellent. All right. So tell me, somebody give me, how has your thinking changed, or what ideas or mindsets were new for you today?
I think for me, it's continually the thought that the purpose of the database is for the connection, not information, but connection between potential buyers and sellers and referral people.
Yes.
And how do you do that? And that is by being in their flow, being consistent. Your name's in their head when they're thinking of real estate. And the other side of it, the proactive side, is making sure that you're in their flow.
Yes.
That's, to me, is the management of the database. That's, it's a habit that I look at and I'm going, that's not a natural thing. It's a discipline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like making a commitment to go work out. You don't get in shape by thinking about it. You have to actually do something.
You mean you have to lift a weight?
You have to do something, yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That's actually a great analogy.
As someone who's never worked a database before, I'm feeling pretty overwhelmed at the
Thank
thought
you
of
for saying
managing and making personal contact with, up to over 1,000 people, which I hope to have by the end of the year. My database.
I will have by the end of the
which
year.
I've been working to have at the
Good.
end of the year.
Perfect.
I actually feel like more confident after today because
Good.
there's some just steps of what needs to happen next that I didn't know because there's so many possibilities of what you can do with 1,000 contacts.
Wonderful. So, would it be awesome if we gave you an actual system on who to call, when, what week, and how to follow up?
Right.
Wouldn't that be totally cool?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm from the company that's like full of systems.
Mhm.
We got you covered. It's
I
called the
know.
DTD2. Okay, it's called Do the Database 2. What we have done is we have broken down every letter in the alphabet. There's 26 letters in the alphabet. So we've chosen 2 letters for every week, 13 weeks. What is 13 weeks in a year? It's a quarter. So every week you call 2 last names. So first week is A and W. You call all the people that end in A, or start in A, and call all the people that start in W. And you will make it through your entire database in a quarter if you follow the system. What we recommend you do is you actually put, so when you have your lead generation time on your calendar, you put in what letters you're working on that week. So you have a strategy of who to call. We got you. Awesome. Okay, so tell me this, how will your behaviors be different going forward? What actions will you take going forward?
For me, I'll throw my what made me feel differently as well. For somebody that hasn't got a paycheck since December, I keep thinking about just today, and I have to give myself permission that this is a cultivation. This is a process, and this starts here, and it has future benefits, and that's what I'm creating right now. And if I just stick with this and continue to add it and do the daily, that's what's going to lead to all this future business.
Yes.
Because I'm so impatient, and yet your database reminds you that you just continue to nurture it and massage it along and get people
Yes.
through the funnel, and eventually they pop out and you help somebody and you get a paycheck.
That's exactly right.
So,
And honestly, it's, your transactions are easier when you are dealing with someone you have nurtured a relationship with. They just are. I'm telling you right now, because there's a rapport built, there's a trust built. Then when you're dealing with somebody that you just met. I've run deals with people I've just met through open houses, and I've run deals with people from my database that I have a relationship with. It's just easier when you know someone. You just have insights into them that help you be better at what you do, and they trust you more because you have a rapport. So just remember that. Yeah, thank you for that, John. All right, one person on the Zoom call, give me an aha or something you learned or something you will change moving forward. There's a few of you on there. Somebody, give me some feedback.
We have to go off mute.
No one's talking right now, I don't think. Usually if I'm just quiet long enough, somebody will talk.
There you go.
Yeah, see, there's Tom. Hey, Tom.
I love that sales tactic.
Say that again,
That's
what'd
my
you say?
favorite sales tactic. I was just, it's kind of like, I remember I was in real estate and development and finance during the big crash in 08. I was coming out of NYU in 2009 from a real estate finance degree that I just invested, what you could buy a house for in some places in the country, and I was totally devastated. But it today kind of reminded me that I had a lot of friends that looked at that, even though they lost their jobs, and they said, you know what, I'm going to go and I'm going to start investing. I'm going to go out on my own, and because there's opportunities in every market. And right now, I'm personally stoked about this. I hate to say that because it's tragedy, but it's, Warren Buffett says, when everybody's greedy, we need to be conservative. When everybody's conservative, we need to be greedy. So when there's blood on the streets, which we're probably getting ready to see, just based on what I've seen, there's going to be a ton of opportunities out there. So all your buddies who've hopefully been diligent in saving their money and be ready for this to come because they saw that last crisis, it's going to be a good buying time. And it's probably going to start translating into some good opportunities. Investors are going to be looking. And so I think now's the time. It's for me, this is the next hot market that, a lot of my friends went out and made money in, and they're big developers now because they said, you know what, this is the time, this is the time.
Thank you, Tom. That's very, very true. Gary specifically said on the call today, he said, you just have to be aware of who the market is for. And then that's who you help. Because there's always somebody in this market. There's always somebody in every market. You just have to be clear on who they are. Right? Or you can sit down and throw a fit because your shoes aren't going on right. I was like, oh, there's a little fit going on. So yeah, that's the reality. Thank you, Tom. That is so true. All right, so we're going to talk about the Daily 24, which we all know, 10 contacts added, 10 conversations a day, handwritten notes, and 10 homes previewed per week. By the way, one of the things that we want you guys to do in this scenario that's happening right now, a lot of people are going, oh, cool, it's a snow day, I'll watch Netflix all day. Yeah, you can absolutely do that, and they're not going to get their fair share of the market when it shifts and when this all happens. So what you got to decide is, first of all, safety, right? I'm safe, I'm good. Now get to work. Do your activities. Because while they're not doing their activities, I consider this that week between Christmas and New Year's is that week that everybody does they're just we're off. I'm like, no, this is your time to prepare for next year, because if you are, you'll go into next year strong. It's the same scenario we're in right now. It's not a snow day. So be safe personally and then get to work. And that's the reality of the people that are going to be successful, is the ones that embrace that. You guys good with that?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so before we make our calls, we're gonna go through, because I wanna get you guys while you're good, but I'm gonna give you a 5-minute break. I want everybody to just do what you gotta do. Take a few minutes. Sam might have made coffee if you need it. We are gonna go into our contracts. I wanna discuss contracts a little bit early today, so that we get through that. And then after we go through contracts, we'll do our phone calls. And I really do recommend, and I'm not even gonna script practice with you guys, because I really do recommend today, it's just, how are you? So just connect with people on a personal level. And if you know them well enough, ask them, are you guys financially okay? Do you need to refinance? I got the best resource for refinance. I mean, that's the conversation right now, right? Are you okay? Is your family okay? Is there anything I can do for you? People just want to talk right now. Let them talk. People were craving connection before they were locked up in their houses. Imagine how they are right now. All right, take 5 minutes. It's 10:38, back by 10:43. Girl, I'm gonna follow you in.
Stretch. I spent an hour driving over here, and then I sit over here, it's like I get up to move around, and it's like I feel like nothing's working.
Are you on the west side?
I coupled little.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, it's about an hour, well, actually lately, because the traffic hasn't been very much, I've been able to get here in about 45 to 50 minutes.
That's good, yeah, it
Yeah.
hasn't been too bad.
Yeah.
There's been a couple times where you don't wanna mess with it, but,
Yeah. Is this your personal?
No,
Oh, okay.
I think it's Nicole's.
Okay. I'm just trying to get the habit of using it, and just didn't want to borrow somebody's personal
Oh,
supply.
yeah, no.
You've been with Keller Williams for a while, or?
No, I just took the real estate course in end of January.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm still trying to get my license. Actually, I got my license number, but it says inactive on the DCCA, so I have to call them when we break. I have to call
Oh.
and see what's going on. I don't know why it says that. It's weird.
Did you send in a change form with Keller Williams to the DCCA?
The Keller Williams sent it all.
Oh, they sent it all in?
Yeah,
It takes about, because I just went through this because I was inactive, I'll go back active. But it's been taking, I noticed, about almost a month, about 3.5 weeks.
Oh no, it's a new license, so
Oh.
everything's like they just gave me my license number and
Oh.
everything, but for some reason it says inactive on there. So I don't know what's going on.
Well, were you inactive before?
I never had a license.
Oh, I never had it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's like.
They must have hit the wrong button then.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
gotta call them. See what's up. Nicole, what is it? Oh, but it's just like a bank's mortgage that
Yeah.
people apply for?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah, they can apply right through your app. Yeah,
Oh,
and so there's 2 lenders, or 2 agents.
Yeah.
There's one in California and one on Kauai.
Okay.
I built a relationship with one in California, her name's Kathy Argento. I'll send you her info, I'll
Okay.
give you her business card. She does a great job. She's already done a purchase and a refi for me, for my clients. And yeah, it's the only difference between, here's what I would say, if somebody wants, first of all, if somebody wants a vacation rental, they can do a second home mortgage, but they can't do a vacation rental if there's any basis for the vacation rental income. We can't do that for them.
Okay,
They can't do those kind of loans, at this time.
okay.
And then the other piece is they're a little more stringent on FICO scores, just
Oh, okay.
because it is a higher risk mortgage, because
Mhm.
they don't make anything on it.
Right.
It's like a loss leader. I would say it's like the burgers at McDonald's,
Yeah.
because the sodas are making them a ton of money.
Right.
So they sell the burgers at 99 cents
Yeah.
for a loss.
Yeah.
Keller Mortgage is kind of like that. Like, it's not, they're not making money on that direction, it's an add-on for us. That's why they do a zero-cost loan, so they're not paying lender fees.
Okay,
And then they get $1,000 back to help for their closing costs,
okay.
their title and escrow fees. Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So it's
So
really
it would only,
amazing.
it would only be beneficial for our clients,
They
right?
have to
Because other
have
people
a
wouldn't.
connection to you.
Okay,
But keep in mind, if you have a listing, the buyer can use Keller Mortgage.
okay.
Even if they're listed to a different, if they're listed by, I mean, if they're represented by a different company.
But they would still go through you as a listing agent or listing
No,
agent?
they would still have their regular buyer's agent,
Okay.
but because you are the listing agent, they can get to Keller Mortgage and get a Keller Mortgage loan.
Wait, are you still the referral person? Would you
There's
do
no,
that?
so there's no referral
Okay.
on Keller, like, when we close a loan, we don't get anything from it.
Right.
It's, if you, like these refis we're talking about, it's purely you doing the right thing, you
Right.
will get no money on it. They're just, I have access, why would you not? Like, look, it's just fully giving,
Mhm.
right? But if, one of the benefits is, so imagine this, I have a listing, buyer's agent brings in their buyer, I say, hey, you know, your buyer can take advantage of Keller Mortgage.
Yeah.
$1,000 back and no closing costs if they wanna approve through them. The buyer's agent says, well, sure, let's check it out. Imagine what happens when that buyer's client, that agent's client goes and closes. They're gonna probably be interested in taking a look at Keller Williams as their,
Right.
so it's a really good way to bring someone into the company as well. It's like, you can take advantage of this for all your clients.
So there's no max on the borrowing for, like, whatever you need to, really, wow.
Jumbos, regular loans.
And they do
yeah.
that without making anything.
I think the company pays them, their company pays them, like,
Yeah.
obviously the lender's not working for no money, she's
Oh,
getting a
right.
paycheck,
Oh,
she's getting
yeah,
paid
yeah.
somehow. But there's a lot of money in lending, let's put it this way.
Yeah.
So what they say is, normally, if you think about a lending company, they usually have quite a large marketing budget.
Right.
Keller Mortgage, you will never see marketed anywhere.
Oh, okay.
We are marketing them.
Right.
So they're taking that marketing budget and they're giving it back to our clients.
Nice.
So that's where the benefit works out. So they don't
That's
have to
awesome.
go out and find clients, because we're going, well, here, you save all this money, you go with it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a win-win, yeah.
That's awesome, okay.
It's really cool. And she's
Wow.
really nice, she's very knowledgeable. They do VA loans, they do FHA loans, they do all the loans.
Okay.
Yeah. They do all the loans.
They do VA loans?
Yeah, they do VA. Yeah, yep, she can do
They
VA.
do VA.
So even if I can't, we have a finance day, even if, because I asked Kathy if she could do like a Zoom call with us, but if not, I'm just gonna get her on the phone and have her answer some
Yeah.
basic questions, like if she was dealing with a new agent, what kind of questions new agents ask. So I'll get her on a phone call if nothing else.
Do you know what the FICO score is that they look?
So generally, so like a VA is usually, I think, 680. Sometimes you can get, I know local lenders can do it for like 650.
Yeah.
But they can't, they're more
Yeah.
stringent because the loan is such a good loan, so you have to qualify for it.
And
So-
are they heavy in the DTI and all that as well? Or is it just based on the FICO score?
No, it's all,
They'll
it's
take all of that into it. Same,
all the
okay.
same as a regular
Okay.
lender. Yeah, your debt to income's definitely gonna be same scenario, in fact,
50%.
it's just more of a conservative loan.
Okay.
Because, remember, the higher quality loan you get, the more you have to qualify.
Right.
Right? So it's not, if someone comes to you and is like, I have crap credit score and I have a foreclosure, don't send them to Keller Mortgage,
Okay.
you're not gonna be able to do anything for them. You're gonna have to send them to a different lender
Okay.
to see if they can do something for them. So I usually judge them.
And do they?
Yeah, my
they
poor
give-
local lender, she's getting all my tough cases, I'm like, sorry.
Do they, on the website, do they give you, the breakdown of like what they expect for the DTI and everything, like the percentage?
I don't know, cause I haven't really checked out the website, I literally found out about that portal today, I was like, oh,
Okay.
good, cause I've been looking for more, like I asked Kathy, can you send me flyers and stuff, and I got the flyers that are in the PC drive from a different somebody else.
Yeah, they have cool flyers on here, the marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have a bunch of them. It's kind of neat.
See, so I think that's the best way for us to get it.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
yes.
Do you know a local, VA lender?
You know, I usually use Kelly Polly, Creative Financial. I have to warn my clients, she's busy and sometimes she'll ignore them, and if she does, they just need to call me and I'll handle it. She's good at getting them closed. She's good at dealing with issues, and she's good at laying out a plan for clients who aren't ready. So that's why I use her. Have a couple other
Right.
scenarios,
Here you
depending
go.
on what it is with
I
different people.
retired from my
I actually
job.
just found out
I was just
about,
tired of doing that whole business
a
after
lady,
24 years.
because I have
So
a
I left
companion.
it was November.
Really, it's First Hawaiian Bank,
November
but I just found out
So
about
it's like
a
I'm
lady
going,
who can do First Hawaiian Bank, rating
Well,
at,
just gonna keep
what's it
putting my
called?
head down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave it in good Lord's
Really
hands.
basically great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I was like,
That's
oh,
all I
love
got.
her.
Absolutely.
I was excited for that.
Where do you go to church? You always-
What's
Yeah,
up, Dad?
actually represent
Okay.
the buyer.
Saturdays, but they shut that down now
No,
too.
you don't.
It's like,
So you still have
we're a
to have your
small
local
church. I
Yeah.
don't even know if we have
house
100
scenarios
people in
there.
there, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of elderly.
I mean,
So
Yeah.
Keller Mortgage is
I
not
got that
ready.
email right after church on Saturday, or text us, like, you know, we decided that we're gonna go online to these sites.
Yeah.
Please continue to give on these sites.
Yeah.
even though-
Okay.
Where were you working? What company were you working?
You guys
for?
are ready? Open up your Vic forms.
I started with Hyatt. Ended up with that. Oh my God, dude, they have earned that reputation. And I wasn't even selling it after a year. I was a QA,
Oh.
PLO guy.
Oh,
And so I just watched it. Oh,
they're the worst. Evan Wyndham.
80-year-olds coming in and I'm signing up for another $100,000. Oh, it's for the grandkids. I'm like, what?
And
It's all
I've heard all the horror
fear-based.
stories that come
Yeah.
together to trickle down.
Good.
What were you doing? Charlie Williams?
You were contract out?
Oh, contract.
Yep. All right, so we'll open up our Zip forms. Oh, that's right.
Nicole, before you go to, once you log in, before you go to Zip Forms, can you pause real quick and
Yep.
walk me through something that would be super helpful? And I think everybody else, just to be able to watch.
Yeah, make you do it manual.
Okay, what do you want me to do?
So,
So you go to
the
the homepage.
stats, over there by market stats. So how would you teach the class to kind of watch out for how our market shifts? You know, in terms of like inventory hitting, months of supply,
Right,
you
so
know, what's
you-
the easiest way
yeah,
to kind
so
of?
you wanna watch for, so what's the difference between a seller and a buyer's market? How much inventory is there? We would
Exactly.
still call it a seller's market versus a buyer's market. So the metric is generally 6 months, so think 180 days. You would start having average days on market longer than that, you're gonna be into a buyer's market. Here's the tricky part on Maui. Don't know why, but we include our escrow time and days on market.
Right. Which is
So it throws us off, because if it's a cash sale, it could have been at 15 days, it could be a loan at 60 days, it could have sat there and had a 1031 and been 90 days. So it really throws our numbers off. So what I usually look at is what's active and how long has it been sitting there.
Do you
So-
even use that there? I mean, because it stops
I
in
use-
February, so I really don't know how that's
Okay.
affecting right now. Is there any way that you can get like real-time information
So-
outside of just,
Oh, it's gonna stop in February because it's a month, it's a rolling month.
sure,
So that's InfoSparks, that's a whole class.
okay,
InfoSparks is fantastic.
yeah.
So just so you know, this right here is just a live feed from InfoSparks. You can take that same live feed and post it on your Facebook page and it'll stay live all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a live InfoSparks feed. InfoSparks is my favorite spot on this entire, even over the MLS. I love me some stats from a C.
Me too.
Makes sense, right? That's InfoSparks. You guys are gonna love that. That being said, we aren't going there right now.
Okay.
Because we will get lost in there. All right, so we bring in your zip forms. Y'all got your contract open that you've been working on? So the first thing we want to do is find out How'd it go? Did you guys fill it all out? Did you complete your contract? No. Okay. Did you start your contract? Did you get some of the items filled in? Okay, so tell me how it went. What stopped you? What did you have questions about? So the first thing I wanted you doing was kind of cruising through and seeing what you had questions about. Yes, Jim?
I might be a little behind everybody on this, but when I was doing the additional deposit, I was reselling a house that I used to own, sold 3 years ago. It's listed for $1.5 million. And when I was putting in the additional deposit, the standard language on the original
Did it
template,
go away?
it went away.
Isn't that a pain?
I hate,
Okay.
I was like, I thought,
Here's the deal, it's
I'm
not
like
you.
going,
It's not
oh, thank you. I looked for that, I tried to cut and paste it from another one.
I
It wouldn't
swear,
work.
Marion has explained this to me 5 times, I still don't get it. Okay, so when you go into a date field, this is actually a date field,
Yeah,
okay? When you go in here and you try and change something, and you do this, and then you click out of here, it goes to a date. I
Yeah.
don't know why. So, here's what I do. I do a space bar, which is supposed to turn it into a regular, okay?
you just delete those.
Space bar. It's gonna delete once you go in there. So what did you wanna change it to?
Well, I like the language of the
Okay.
item, the standard inspection date, whatever that is, but I couldn't, I tried to cut and paste that. So you just hit, you just hit the space bar?
So you just hit the space bar, you space it again. Now, when you go out of here, click out.
Okay, what, I can't read that language again.
Just said 2 days after J1 inspection period. It's different in there. Now, when I click in there, here's what I have to be careful of. When I click in there, it wants to make it a date field again.
Yeah.
Once you space it, it's gonna erase it again.
Yeah.
It is a big old pain. I don't know why it does it. Okay?
Okay, so, I'm sorry, I just typed in the 2 days after the J1 inspection period, and then I hit another space.
Hit another space. Now, if you tab it out, you're gonna be okay too. You can click it out or tab it out, but the moment you go back in here, you're gonna have to retype it. I don't know a workaround to that.
So then you go in and, like, I had a date before.
Okay, you had an actual date in there?
Yes.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Why would you put a date in there?
Because I just wanted to put something in there. I was just,
Well, if it
wa-
was an actual contract, why would you put a date in there?
Well, to me, the date, a hard date is, would strengthen the offer.
Okay, give me an example of a hard date. Let's say you're submitting the offer to your clients to sign today. What would be a hard date for that?
Well, I put in 3/31,
Okay, so how many,
but it'd give us
so
enough time.
let's walk through this. 3/31 is how many days from today? Somebody tell me.
Was it 16th today?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so
How many days is that?
15 days.
Okay, how many days are we giving them to respond? Let's walk
On
through
the
it.
offer,
Yeah, how many days are we giving them to respond?
I just gave them 2 days.
Okay, perfect. So today is the 16th, so they have until the 18th to respond?
Yeah.
Let's say they respond to you on the 18th with a counter offer and you have 2 days to respond. Let's say you respond on the 20th and you guys don't come to an agreement on the counter offer and they
Yeah.
send you a new counter offer. Now you're on day 22. Now you're how many days away from your hard date?
I did it.
You're
I didn't-
approaching your date too fast.
I did not want
Yeah.
to put a date, I still, in fact, I'm still, now, I put this in here and the whole thing disappeared again.
So you never want a date on these. You want such and such a time after acceptance or after a certain. That's why it's 2 days after J1 inspection. So then whatever date's on J1, which by the way, J1's gonna be 14 or 15 days from acceptance of offer. So the timeline doesn't start, right? No, this is a good conversation, Jim, because sometimes you're like, I wanna put in a date because I want it to be clear, but the problem is, you don't know where your starting point is, so you have to be careful putting in hard dates.
Yeah, I want it to be, I look at this as under the thing of the win-win.
Right.
Okay, when I'm writing an offer, I want it to be a win-win, I want it to be a sale. So I'm thinking in terms of, but I have to also lean towards who I'm.
Right, so I never want my client to be putting any money extra down until after they're done with their J1 inspection period,
Okay.
extra. I don't want them to
2
put a
days.
secondary down unless J1 has already occurred.
Two
So,
days,
do you see how-
after?
Yeah, so that's what, it says something different. What does the original say? You guys still have the original? What does it say?
2 business days after acceptance of J1 inspection.
Yeah, there you go. 2 business days. Okay, so that's a little more clarity too. 2 business days. I would have typed that. I just was like, what is it?
After 2 business days,
2
what now?
business days after acceptance of J1 inspection period.
There you go. That's very clear. Yeah, because you don't want to get into escrow and then suddenly your client's having to put in a secondary deposit down on a date that's before their J1 is done. Make sense?
Oh, but I saved it, what, deleted it.
You
I'm
gotta-
telling you, it's a
You
pain.
gotta click out of it.
I apologize. Yeah, you have to click out of it and then it will save it. Okay, so on page 1 and 2, any other questions that came up on page 1 and 2? Did we get 1 and 2 filled out? We got all the way through E1? Because those are the ones that we've gone through in class, yeah? Okay, let's move on to page 3. All right, so how do we know what's included in the property?
It's
What is
listed
it?
in the listing, in the
It's
listing.
listed, yes. I will give a free shift book to anybody that can tell me what is the one thing on here that is the most difficult thing to find, nobody lists it, and everybody's confused if it even exists.
Under what category now, sir?
Inclusions.
Inclusions?
You all get a guess.
That's difficult to find.
You get, it, from the paperwork and having a conversation, sometimes people can't answer it.
Of this list.
Of that list.
Photovoltaic?
Huh?
Photovoltaic?
No, but thank you for guessing.
The sprinklers.
No, but thank you for guessing.
Cable TV outlet.
No, but thank you for guessing.
Existing window coverings.
Security alarm system.
No, but thank you for playing.
Oh.
Morgan, you're the last
Oh,
one.
man. Water heater.
What?
Water heater. No, but thank you. What'd you say, Tom?
Big screen TV?
Big screen TV. That one's pretty easy to see. All right. Catherine and Kristen, you guys get to guess. What's the one thing that's really difficult to figure out that seems to be an issue that sometimes people don't even know the answer to? You guys want to guess? One more guess. Okay, you got 3, 2, 1. And the answer is
Garbage disposal?
yes! Garbage disposal. I can't tell you how many times I'm like, does that have garbage disposal? And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So now when I go in to look at the property, I'm like, there's a garbage disposal, just in case I have to write it. And it is rarely listed on there, I don't know why. So that's one of those things that for some reason it tends to be an issue, so just keep that in mind. All right, so you guys filled this out. Did you utilize the listing to answer these questions? Because the listing will list what's included, right?
Well, this condo doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't list anything?
Not a thing.
Okay.
Zippo, zero.
So how do you find what's included?
I went through the pictures.
Very good. How else do you find what's included?
Pick up the phone and call the agent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come
There
on,
you go.
man.
It's worth a conversation anyway. Just say, hey, I'm looking at the. I can't tell you this happens. Like somebody will send me they're like, there's no oven. There's no oven. It's a stove, and I'm like, so they're taking out the wall oven and replacing it? And he's like, no. I'm like, okay, well that's an oven, not a stove. It's so funny. So you just have to have conversations. You just want clarity around what's going to be included. You do not want an issue at the end. All right, photovoltaic is generally you know if there's photovoltaic. You need to know if it's leased.
So I have
or
a
it's
question.
owned. Yes.
Just real quick. So if
Yeah.
if you did that and used the listing, whatever is in the MLS will transfer over automatic, or should?
Correct. So you, if they have a list in there,
It
this
will
is what's
check these
included.
all-
Yes.
in automatic.
Here's the conversation though, you need a script around this with your buyer. This is something I always say. If there is something in the property that is not in this list that you want included, you need to let me know now because we need to write it in the contract. Such as pretty Buddhas, art on the wall, something that you saw that you're like, that's gotta come with it. Now's the time to put it in there. Okay, now's the time to have that conversation. So sometimes you will get, okay, so this is a fun one. Sometimes you will get it. don't leave anything to chance. Furnished per inventory list. I just got that one in a deal I'm in right now, as a matter of fact. So they take a bunch of stuff out and then give us an inventory list. By the way, the inventory list was not pictures, which is what I prefer. Like, open every drawer, take a picture. Open the next drawer, take a picture. Send me all those pictures. Clarity, right? I don't need a list that says 25 forks and 15 knives or whatever, but give me clarity. So she said it's everything in the inventory list. Person that was holding the open house when I took my buyers through said everything's included down to the spices.
Ooh,
Guess what's currently empty?
spices.
The spice drawer. I was like, oh, so whoever was holding the open house did not have their facts right, and then they started taking things out of the property. So I had to go back and say, all right, hold up. And she's like, well, it said per the inventory list. And I'm like, okay, you told me it included everything. And those were her words. So get clarity, because that is part of your buyer's checking, and your sellers need to be aware of what they have to leave, right? So get clear on this stuff. Do not be afraid to get clear and say, okay, so here's what my clients want to make sure. So she sends me this inventory list, doesn't include the patio furniture. So the question was, is the patio furniture included? Oh yeah, I forgot to put that on the list. Didn't include the speaker system. Oh, that was attached to the TV, so I figured it came. It's not attached to the TV, it's attached by a cord. It's freaking speakers like that. I'm like, that is a speaker system, that is not a TV. So get clear. I told my clients, look, that's why we get this list. We get to go through everything, and if there's something not in there that you wanted, we go back and we say, this was supposed to be included. Are you not including this? Because this is part of our time to figure out what's included. Okay? So get clear on your contracts, do the best you can, and then get clear on what's included. I love the pictures, I think it's the easiest way to do it. Right? But even like sometimes you'll get a vacation rental, some art not included. What does art mean? Well, good question, right? It does not just mean paintings, it can mean all kinds of things. It could be a knickknack, it could be anything, so get clear as you can. Clarity in the contract is great. If there's an issue after that, get it cleaned up, okay? Because you do not want your buyer walking into their property that they bought going, wait, something was supposed to be here. Like, make sure they know, okay? So get clear on that. Does that make sense? Awesome. All right, so if there's inclusions of PV, inclusions of furnishings. Now, did you guys have furniture being included in your offers or not? Some yes, some no? Okay, cool. All right. So notice this says inventory of furnishings is either attached or to be provided to buyer by 7 days from acceptance. So if you got an inventory already, they were like, here's what the inventory is, and they sent it to you, attach it with the offer. This is what you said is included. Better be included.
So you shouldn't put a date down, there should be 7 days from acceptance typically.
Yes, because remember, if you put a date, you could be in that same scenario. So let's say 7 days from, let's say we do 7 days from today is the 23rd, but we go through the scenario I was talking about before, it's now the 20th before you're opening escrow. So now you want an inventory list 2 days later, it's too quick, right? You gotta give some time to get things together. Make sense? That's why you never want hard dates on those kind of things. All right, exclusions. What's the question to the buyer?
What don't you want?
Yeah, anything you think might be staying that you do not want on the property when you get in here and buy it.
The old boat with bushes.
Right, there you go, exactly. That is the question you asked. Like, is there anything that you're seeing here that you're like, that looks like it might stay and I don't want that? Like, I always ask my buyers, is there anything on the property that you're like, make sure they get that out of here?
Is it, from your experience, Nicole, would you say that exclusions are something that is more often NA or?
Yes, it's much more often NA. Here's what I tell my buyers. I go, look, is there anything that's left, if left on this property that you didn't want, that you'd have a problem selling or getting rid of? And usually it is large items. It's like, that is heavy and I don't want it here, right? So sometimes storage sheds in the backyards of condos or things like that. Gotta get clarity. It's not attached. If it's not like, the plastic sheds, get clear. Included, not included. You wanna ask these questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sense?
A lot of it would be pretty obvious if you have a yard or stuff that's really an eyesore. most of it, and you should be able to say, well, yeah, that's, just the visual inspection, you'll see right off the bat, so we don't want that, most
Right.
of it be pretty obvious.
Well, and some of it you think it's gonna be obvious, but like, what about a lawnmower? Is that included?
Yeah.
Maybe they want it, right? Like, we gotta get clear. Don't let these things be gray areas. You do not want gray areas in real estate.
So my listing says comes fully furnished, it's turnkey. Do you put anything in that protects your buyer, includes all furnishings as of, or?
Just say fully furnished.
Okay.
Would
So
it
just leave
be-
at that.
And then it's an inventory list. It's not gonna protect them. There's too much gray area in wording.
Sure.
That's why you want the list, preferably pictures.
So according to our contract though, like it states fully furnished, but then we're gonna wait 7 days to find out exactly what that means, is that correct?
Yes, and remember, the reason you're getting it in 7 days is you got 21 days to make a decision of whether you're buying this. That's part of your inspection.
And there's
You're
your,
inspecting the inventory list.
now you negotiate that portion as well.
Yeah, if there's something you're like, not seeing this, or this, and my clients want this, and this.
Right.
Oh, those come, great, send me those on paper, or send me a picture of those. So I have a record that they included. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so, we got the PV. By the way, be really clear if it's leased or owned, like really clear. And by the way, it can either be leased or owned, it can't be leased and owned.
What item are you on here?
So I'm on E3,
E3.
PV,
E3?
E3. Inclusions of PV
Oh,
under
PV.
security alarm system
Yeah.
contracts or leases,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So we need to be really clear on that. Is it owned or is it leased? All right, inclusions and furnishings, exclusions, we went through that. All right, closing. So, one of the most important conversations you want to have with the other side, right? Like, get clear. I mean, you don't want to write an offer and they're like, oh, no, we need 90 days. Now you're getting a counter either way, right? You maybe could have avoided that. So always ask that. Is there any closing dates, anything that I need to include in this contract that would make it smoother for all of us? Because then you can have that conversation with your client. Does that make sense?
And then a lender conversation as well?
Always with the lender.
Yeah.
You're always gonna wanna find out from the lender what scenario you're in. So I always send them the breakdown, right? Remember we talked about that? Send them the breakdown to the lender. This is my time. I got this many days to close it, and then we're gonna break down all of the dates that are due. We'll get to that. That's on a
All right.
page. But you always wanna have that conversation, right? What'd you guys do as closing dates?
I just use what was the honor before 60 days from acceptance.
Okay. What'd you guys put in? 60? Good?
Can we talk about that?
Yeah?
So 60 days, I'm gonna put that on with any financing, or is that just VA and FHA type of financing?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Talk to your lender.
Right.
And make sure you're clear with your lender.
Mhm.
Like sometimes I'll have lenders who are like, I can close this in 45 days, no problem.
Got it.
Great, we're gonna write it for 45 days.
Okay.
Got a deal right now in 45 days, got another deal in 60 days. Just depends on the scenario and the lender and what's going on, and, you know, you have to communicate.
Right.
And see what makes the most sense. You also have to talk to your buyer about what their time frame is, right? When are they looking at moving? And by the way, you always need to ask them if they need to sell something to buy, because that has to be in your contract. You also need to ask your sellers, do you need to buy something to sell? Kind of important? Oh, it
Yeah.
happens. It happens. We have nowhere to live. Wait, what? We need to buy. Wait, what? Yeah.
What about, if they wanted to lease back, a lot of times you get people that want to
You
lease.
can get lease back scenarios. Yeah, you can get rent backs. It's got to be in contract. It can get a little messy. Just remember your buyer becomes a landlord if they rent back. Just keep that in mind. And they need to be aware of that. You become a landlord when you rent back. The seller becomes the tenant and the buyer becomes a landlord. Just be clear that that's what's happening. Because remember, once that contract is closed, no one has rules over anyone anymore. Like, they have rules over each other, but title and escrow and us, we're not involved anymore. Then it's the tenant-client relation, tenant and tenant-owner relationship, right? So just keep in mind that that's the
The
relationship. that
buyer
you choose.
is the landlord?
Yeah, they own it. If the seller is renting back,
Oh,
the buyer owns it. They become a landlord. Seller becomes a tenant.
Ah,
So it's a landlord-tenant relationship. We're out, like when we close, we're out of the dealings.
right.
Just make sure your buyer is aware that they become a landlord at that point.
Would you need a, yeah, you'd actually need to do a lease agreement separate,
I'm not sure. I can't answer that question.
yeah.
I would assume that if it's for a very short period of time, you would be fine because you're covered under this contract, but they're the only ones covered.
Well, and I haven't looked at this in a lot of detail, but from I remember in the past, there was that occupancy date was another factor. Closing date and occupancy date.
Right. Here, usually it's close of escrow is occupancy date. There's usually not,
Probably the
Extra
safest way to
time.
do it.
yeah, exactly. All right, so, any other questions about closing date? Okay. Any questions about the one-time unilateral right to extend?
Which one is that now?
F3.
Oh, change to discretion close the date. And that's typically, that's safe to put, typically it's customary to have 10 days in there.
That, yeah, it's a safe date, it usually gives everybody enough time to handle whatever scenario showed up. Hopefully. Not always, we can't predict everything, but that's what we put in there.
Yeah. Well, you wanna, when you do enough deals, you kind of get a, you can kind of see the tendency, what works best,
Right.
what's, you know,